Good morning, children. Very good morning to one and all. Last class, we finished discussing the objectives of chapter 4, which is sorting materials into group. Yes. From coming Friday, your second cycle test would be starting. So your portion for your second cycle test, your biological ma'am will tell you, Ida Princy ma'am will give you. This time you will have only biological science cycle test. Okay. So next cycle test will be of physical science. Right? Okay. So now we have to discuss the question answers of chapter 4, which is pending. Objectives are over. So now quickly we will go through the question answers. We'll see what are the questions and what are you supposed to answer to those questions. Right? So I hope everybody is going through the PowerPoint slides and everybody is reading the textbook. One second, let me start sharing my screen. Please write your classworks, put the dates correctly and write very neatly using pen. Don't use ball pen pens. Okay, ballpoint pens, please avoid that. Using pen or cartridge pens. You have to write because anytime we will ask you to submit your notebooks. Okay, now we'll start discussing the question answer. One second. So the very short answer type question, the first one is, name two solids which are insoluble in water. So there are many solids. We have to tell any two solids which are insoluble in water. Okay. So I have given sand and chalk powder. You can write sand, dust, stones. Okay. Sand and chalk powder. Which material loses its shine when exposed to moist air? There are few metals which when exposed to moist air, will start losing their shine. Some metals like iron and copper and even silver. Okay. So some metals like iron and copper. Third question, a substance when placed in water floats on it. What do you conclude from this? It can be concluded that the substance has less density than water and hence it floats in water. So if a substance has less density than water, then only it will float in water. If it has high density than water, then it will sink in water. Okay. So heavier the object, it will sink. If it is light, it will float in water. So it can be concluded that the substance has less density than water and hence floats in water. Name two materials which do not dissolve in water and are lighter than water. Wood, dry leaves. You can write any two of your choice. Okay. How do soluble substances differ from insoluble substances? What is the difference? Soluble substances dissolve in water, whereas insoluble substances do not dissolve in water. It's a very simple answer. What is the difference between, or how do the soluble substances differ from insoluble substances? So we know that soluble substances are soluble in water, whereas insoluble are not soluble in water. Okay. Coming to the short answer type questions. How do gold and rubber differ in their luster? What is luster? It is shine. L-U-S-T-R-E is shine. So if a material is having shine, is having luster, then we call that object as lustrous material. Okay. So how do gold and rubber differ in their luster? Gold and rubber differ in their luster as gold has shiny appearance, whereas rubber has a dull appearance. Okay, very easy, simple difference. So we know gold has a shiny appearance, whereas rubber doesn't have a shiny appearance. It has dull appearance. Most of the metals have shiny appearance, except for very few. Okay. What is meant by soft material? Give two examples of soft materials. Now we learned the different properties of material, right? We learned solubility, we learned texture, we learned the state, we learned hardness, appearance, transparency, translucency, opacity, all these things. So now the question is about what is meant by soft material. So this is one of the property. If a material, if you are able to easily compress, cut, bend or scratch a material, then that material is called a soft material. Okay. So materials that can be easily compressed, cut, bent or scratched are called soft material. Example, apple, flour, tomato. Okay. Skin, our skin is also soft, right? Then feather, cotton, these are examples. Does oxygen gas dissolve, dissolve in water? Excuse me. Does oxygen gas dissolve in water? If yes, what is the importance of oxygen gas dissolve in water? So the question is oxygen gas dissolvable in water? Yes. So we know that oxygen gets dissolved in water and that is used by the aquatic animals. They make use of the dissolved oxygen. It helps aquatic plants and animals to survive in water as they breathe in the oxygen dissolved in water. Okay, plants make use of the dissolved carbon dioxide. There are very few plants which make use of the oxygen. As oxygen is also used by plants to carry out the process of respiration. Okay, so yes, oxygen gas dissolves in water. So this is a very important 1-mark question. Okay, can be asked as fill in the blanks or true or false. So you should know that oxygen that gets dissolved in water is used by the aquatic animals and plants. What is meant by a transparent material? Give 3 examples of transparent materials. We know there are three types of material: transparent, translucent, and opaque material. The question is, what is meant by transparent material? So transparent means it will help you to, it makes you to see things easily. So through a transparent material, you can see through easily. And it allows light to pass through it. Transparent materials will allow light to pass through it. A material through which we can see easily is called a transparent material. This property is called transparency. Okay. So if a material possesses or is transparent, that property is called, example, glass, air, water. So now here, if it is asked as an objective, it can be asked like, it can become a little tricky if I give you, is mirror a transparent material? Mirror is not a transparent material. Mirror is different, glass is different. Okay, glass is transparent, mirror is opaque. It will not allow light to pass through it and you cannot see the other side through a mirror. Why is water called a universal solvent? Now, this is also a very, very, very important question. Water is called a universal solvent as it dissolves many substances. So, in most of the factories and industry, almost everything in your household chores, everything, water plays a very important role. Water is very important because we make use of it. We need it for drinking in industries and factories, for making so many things. Water is used because it can easily dissolve many substances, be it textiles industry, be it food industry, whatever. Okay, water is very important. Most of the solids, liquids and gases dissolve in water. Most of the solid, liquids, gases dissolve, but there are few solids, liquids and gases which do not get dissolved. Okay, so you should know the difference. So these are the short answer type questions. All the short answer type questions, all 5 are very, very simple answers. I don't think they are very difficult because hardly they end up in 1 line or 2 lines. So it's very easy. You just read it 3 times. Definitely you'll be able to write it easily. Okay. Now coming to long answer type question. So if you are writing the classwork, make a habit like while writing itself, you read the answer and right. Okay, so it's like you're revising it, so you'll save time and it will be easy if you do it on the same day. So now this question, don't get panicked looking at the length of the question. The question answer looks lengthy, but it's very, very, very simple answer. You have to write an experiment. Describe an experiment to show that some substances dissolve in water while others do not. So we have to write that what all substances get dissolved in water and which do not. So what is the aim of the experiment? So whenever an experiment is asked, the procedure to write the answer is like this. You have to write the aim of the experiment. You have to write the materials required for the experiment. What is the procedure to carry out the experiment? What did you observe after doing everything? And what is the conclusion? This is how a question which is asking you to describe an experiment, an experimental type answer is given in this way. So aim, materials required, procedure, observation, conclusion, right? So first one, aim. What is our aim? To show that some substances dissolve in water while others do not. It is given in the question. Your question is describe an experiment to show that some substances dissolve in water while others do not. So that is what is our aim. To show that some substances dissolve in water while others do not. Materials required. What are the materials we need to carry out the experiment? We need a beaker. A beaker is a glass a vessel, which would be like a large container kind of stuff. Okay, a beaker. You all would have seen it. So we need a beaker, we need water, we need a stirrer to stir the water, a little quantity of the following items. We need milk, sand, sugar, washing soda, common salt, plastic, glass, coconut oil, and paper. So these are all the items, all the materials which are easily available at home. You don't have to go out searching for it, right? Everything is available at home. Sugar, washing soda, common salt, you'll have a old toy, some plastic, some broken piece of glass, or any glass material, coconut oil, paper, milk, sand. Definitely will be having. If you live in the ground floor, you can collect it from outside. If you live in the first floor, second floor like that, then definitely will be having flower pots, right? So from there you can take some clay or sand. What is the procedure? Put a little quantity of the substances one at a time. So slowly, one by one, you have to put the substances one at a time. Mentioned in a beaker containing water. So in a beaker, you pour water, then one by one, you have to pour these items. First milk. You then use the stirrer to stir it. Okay. Then check if it is getting soluble. So if you add milk, now if you come to the observation column, you can see when you add milk, it is soluble in water. So we say yes. Now next, throw that water, take fresh water, clean water again, and put some spoon or 2 spoons of sugar and stir it. You will see that sugar also get dissolved. It is an example of soluble solid. So yes, we are writing yes. Now next, you take wax. Wax will be having candles, right? So from there you take wax. You stir wax, it will not get dissolved. Now throw that, take fresh water again, put a spoon of sand, you keep stirring, it will not get dissolved. So we say no. Now washing soda. So again you have to take, every time you do the experiment, every time you have to throw that old water and take fresh water, clean the beaker and take fresh water, okay, to check the solubility. Because if you don't do that, the residues of the previous substance will be there and it will not get dissolved. Common salt, we know it gets dissolved. That's what when we make use of it in making vegetables, curries and all, it gets dissolved. When you make a lemonade, it gets dissolved, right? Plastic, it will not get dissolved. Glass, no. Coconut oil, no. Oil doesn't get dissolved. That is why there are few liquids which do not get mixed up with water easily, and those liquids are called immiscible liquids. They will form a separate layer. Okay. Next, paper. Paper, if you tear and put paper and water, keep stirring, paper will absorb water, but it will not get dissolved in water. Okay. So the procedure is take a beaker, put water, and one by one, you have to put these things mentioned and keep stirring and check the solubility. And in the observation, you have to write what did you observe. You have to draw this column, you have to write the name of the material, you have to write the solubility in water. Okay. Conclusion. We can classify substances on the basis of their solubility in water. So, based on the solubility of water, we can classify some substances. Okay. Second question. How will you find out the hardness or softness of a material? How will you find out the hardness or softness of a material? By touching it, right? So we know, just now when we were learning short answers, we learned about soft material. Now same thing you'll be writing, with that you'll be writing about hard material, right? So materials can be soft or hard. You can find out this by pressing
Deepika ma'am?
Thank you, ma'am. Yes. Once again. Okay. One second, children. Yes. So how will you find out that the hardness or softness of material? So first we have to tell how will we find this out. Materials can be soft or hard. You can find out this by pressing different materials with your hand. Materials which can be easily compressed, cut, bent or scratched are called soft material, right? So if a difference between soft material and hard material is asked, you can write this difference. Okay, if it is a 2-mark question, you can write the definition and give example. Everywhere, wherever you know the examples, if you write the examples, it is best. Okay, even if it is mentioned or not, always write the examples wherever it is required. Okay. So you can write this line, materials which can be easily compressed, cut, by soft material, and then you can write 2 examples. Then for hard materials, you can write Materials that cannot be easily compressed, cut, bent, or scratched are called hard material, right? So if a difference between is asked, you can write this. If I ask you only to write about soft material, you can write this line about soft material. If I ask you to write about hard material, then you have to write materials that cannot be easily compressed, cut, bent, or scratched are called hard material. Okay, that time you shouldn't think, ma'am, we don't have a separate question asking us to write about hard materials, then from where should we write? No, you should know whenever you're learning, you should learn by understanding it. Okay, don't mug up. Understand what you're learning, understand the meaning. So if you're learning this is as how will you find out the hardness or softness of a material? You know what is hard material, you know what is soft material. So if I ask you what is hard material, you can write this point. Okay. Is an object always made of only one type of material? What materials can be used to make a table? No, an object is not always made of only one type of material. Some objects are made of only one material. Example, paper. Some objects are made of more than one material. Example, pencil, cooked vegetables, your box. So many things are there. Wood, iron, nails, plywood, and plastics are used to make a table. So if you have, definitely you'll be all having a table at home. If you go and observe, table is not only made up of wood, it will have a plywood on top, it will have screws, iron nails, it will have a bush at the bottom, plastic bush. Okay. So all these things are used for making a table. So first part of question is an object always made up of only one type of material? For which we are telling no, an object is not always made up of only one type of material. But there are some objects that are made up of only one type of material, example paper. Some objects are made up of more than one type of material, example pencils. Then second part of the question is what material can be used to make a table? So wood, iron nails, plywood and plastic are used to make a table. Okay. Describe different textures of materials with example. So what are the different textures? The different textures of materials are rough material and smooth material. Texture is the outer look, the appearance. Okay, when you touch it, you should feel smooth or the smoothness or roughness. Okay, so different textures of material are rough and smooth. So what is rough material and smooth material? Certain materials have bumps or ridges on their surfaces which can be felt by touching them. Such materials are said to be rough. Example, rocks, sandpaper, bark of a tree. So when you touch these materials, you will find roughness. Okay, you will feel roughness on the surface. Okay, they are rough material. So the texture of rock is rough. Texture of sandpaper is rough. Texture of bark of a tree is rough. So this can also be asked as an objective. I'll give you an example and I'll ask you what is the texture of this material. So you should know. Next, certain materials do not have bumps or ridges on their surface. They are called smooth materials. So when you touch, you don't feel those ridges or bumps or ups and downs. Then they are smooth materials. Example, petals of a flower, mirror, silk. When you touch, they are smooth, right? There are no ridges on them. So you can feel it to be smooth. So this is, we are writing the definition. Describe the different textures of material with examples. So the textures of material are rough and smooth. This is how the texture is defined. So we are writing the definition of rough material and smooth material with example. Okay. So it can be also asked separately, like I told you for the second answer. I may ask you only to tell you about rough I'm just making it clear in exam point of view. Okay. So if I ask you to write only about rough material, you will write only the definition of rough material with example. If I ask you to write about smooth material, you will be writing about smooth material with example. Okay. What is meant by translucency? How can you make a paper translucent? Materials through which objects can be seen but not clearly are known as translucent material. And this property is called translucency. So if a material is transparent, that property is called transparency. If a material is opaque, that property is called opacity. Now here, materials through which object can be seen. What are transparent materials? Through which you can see easily. Translucent, you can see but not clearly. They are translucent, and that property is called translucency. Translucent materials allow light to pass through them partially, meaning they will not allow light to pass through them totally, completely. In transparent materials, light passes through completely, but in translucent, it passes partially. Okay. Opaque objects, lights cannot pass through them at all. Okay, we are example of opaque material. So do lights pass through us? No. Okay. How can you make paper translucent? Paper is an opaque object. If we put 2-3 drops of oil on the paper, it becomes translucent. Yes, so paper, if you hold, it is opaque, but if you put few drops of oil and just keep it next to the light, you will find that it becomes translucent. Okay, so remember this point, this is very important. Paper is an opaque object, but if you put few drops of oil on the paper, it becomes translucent. Okay. So what is meant by translucency? How can you make paper translucent? Materials through which objects can be seen but not clearly are known as translucent materials, and this property is called translucency. Translucent materials allow light to pass through them partially. Paper is an opaque object. If we put 2-3 drops of oil on the paper, it becomes translucent. Okay, so these answers, while writing, you read it 3 times, 4 times, and then write neatly. If you find any spellings wrong, if you find any spellings difficult, please do practice the spelling. Okay, so with this, the question answers of this lesson are over. Okay, so these are the question answers of this lesson. So write it neatly. Anytime I will ask you to submit your notebook. So I wanted to show you sandpaper. So most of you would have seen this. It appears like this at the back, and in the front it is black and it is very rough. Have you all seen this sandpaper? It is used for rubbing on wooden surfaces and metals to give a shine. Okay, so they are very rough actually. It doesn't appears to be rough when you see, but when you touch it, it's very rough. Okay, you're having, okay, good. So this is used for scratching metals. It will give a shiny appearance. It will make the metal get its shine back. Okay, so I hope this lesson was interesting and was easy, sorting materials into group. It's very, very simple, very easy lesson in your physical science subject. Very easy chapter. Okay, so go through the textbook, read the lesson thoroughly because you should know to answer all the objective type questions, and go through the PowerPoint slide also. Look at the picture, observe the pictures, and as I already told you, finish your classwork neatly. Use pen, don't use ball pen, don't use pencil, use cartridge pen or ink pen. Anytime we will ask you to submit your notebook, and as I already told you in the beginning, when you read the lesson, try to prepare notes of your own in your own words. Okay, put points, write the important points. It will really help you a lot. Okay, most of you are writing neatly, but there are few who have to practice more. So practice, definitely your handwriting will change. Not homework notebook, your classwork, science classwork. Okay, you'll be having two classworks. One is for Ida Princy ma'am and one for me. One for physical science and one for biological science. So in physical science notebooks, you write the chapter 3 fiber to fabric and the sorting material into group. I'm going very slowly, so you will be having a lot of time. So please do write neatly. Okay, so go through the lesson. So we'll meet in the next class with a new chapter. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.